Alright, so before we actually get into prices, I'm just going to show you straight out what to actually look for on these bills. Now, for the web notes, they did produce these 4 different years. So 1988 being a lot of web notes came out of there, and then of course 1993 and 1995. So I'm going to explain kind of the difference between the web notes and regular notes here in a second. But first off, if we look at the top bill here, this is a web note. The bottom one, not a web note. So if we look here where the red square is, you can see just a number 1. And then over here on the regular note, you can see a letter and a number. And then you can see that there on the left side of the bill as well. So the web note is not going to have that on the left side of the bill. And then here on the back is really a good way to tell is that a web note's number is going to be to the right of the phrase "In God We Trust" and above the E and 1. Now here on the regular note, you will see those numbers to the bottom right of the E and 1. So that is a big difference right there. Really, that's all you got to look for on the back of them. So that is the difference between a web note and a regular note. Now, of course, if you go to Wikipedia, I mean, it's very simple, even though it's not really, you know, the best resource place to go to, but it's very, very simple to understand these web notes. Basically, they were experimented with producing bills in a different way, and that is the web press. So the web press notes is basically fed by a continuous paper roll. It's printed on both sides simultaneously and created 96 notes in one pass, delivered 10,000 sheets in 35 minutes. So very, very fast way of producing bills in comparison to the standard method, which was sheet fed. All these sheets were pre-cut to fit 32 bills on the sheets, and then they only delivered a little over 8,000 sheets per hour. So it's just a different way of producing these bills, and they kind of experimented with that, so there's not too many out there, so they are kind of sought after. So let's hop right into the prices for these web notes. You can see here that this web note has definitely been circulated. It's got a lot of creases. It's not in good condition. It's definitely worn. However, you can see that one little number there, 4, and then if we go here to the reverse of the bill, you see that one little 8 there sitting there right next to the phrase "In God We Trust." So this bill here only sold for $7, but I'm going to show you more expensive ones as we go here. Now this next web note, web press note, dollar bill that you should always be on the lookout for in your wallet or from the bank. You could go to the bank, guys, get stacks of dollar bills, $100 in dollar bills, and search for these web notes. Now this web note here is nothing too fancy, just a very, you know, good conditioned Federal Reserve note here. And this web note dollar bill here sold for over $1,500. So $1,500. Moving on to a 1988 web Federal Reserve note. Now you can see here we got the 4, and then here on the back we got the 6, and this dollar bill here sold for over $30. So nothing too crazy, but let's keep moving on. Now here is a web note that is actually an error note as well. So it's got an inverted overprint error taking place here. So very noticeable error. You would definitely spot this if you found it in your wallet very quickly. But you do see still the 5 there, the little 5. And then there on the reverse of the bill, we do see that number 10 there. So that is a web note error bill. So very cool. This dollar bill here sold for over $2,300. Over a $2,000 bill. Next up, now this one's cool because it is a web note. You can kind of see how it's faded there in the middle. Now that is an inking error, so it's an insufficient inking error there on the back printing. So very, very cool. We got the number 1 there. It's almost faded out. But here on the front, you can see that we got the number 2 right where it's supposed to be, 1988. And this Federal Reserve note sold for over $120 US. Next up is another error taking place on the web note, which is pretty cool. Now you cannot actually see the letter here on the reverse because of the ink smear error taking place. But if we go here to the front of the bill, you can see that number 4 right there. So that is a web note, and this dollar bill from 1988 sold for over $130 as well. Next up, now this one is pretty cool. This one is a super expensive and valuable dollar bill. Super rare. Now if you come across something like this, you are talking some big money. First we got the 2, so it is a web note. You go here on the back just to make sure. We got the 1 there in the back, so next to the phrase "In God We Trust." So like I said, it is a web note, but what even makes this Federal Reserve note even more unique is that we can see here on the left hand side the serial number ends with a star, so star note. However, here on the right side it ends in an L. Now both of these serial numbers are supposed to be matching. Now because they are not, that will give it a lot of value. Now it's a mismatched star with a block letter suffix. So sometimes it'll be a mismatched just suffix. It'll be an L and an A, or an L and an R. You know, whatever the letters are that are mismatched. However, this is a mismatch with a star and a letter, the letter L. So that's going to give it a lot of value. This dollar bill sold for over $29,000. $29,000. Moving on to another web note. Now this, I almost said coin. This dollar bill is from 1988 as well. We see that there is a smear, ink smear here on the back, solvent smear on the back. So very cool. You see the 4 there, and then here on the front of the bill, see that it looks pretty normal. And then we got the 10 there. This dollar bill here sold for over $120. Moving on to another web note. Now we are almost finished here. This web note here is a star note, which is awesome. Now you see that this isn't mismatched. It has stars on both sides of the serial numbers, the left side and the right side. And we got the 1 there for the web note on the front, and then the 2 on the back. Now this dollar bill here sold for over $2,200. So again, another dollar bill for over $2,000. Moving on, now this one here, again, another star note example of a 1988. So we got the web note, we got the star notes serial number, and this dollar bill here sold for over $2,800. $2,800. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe in the middle. Check out the videos to the left of me, and until tomorrow, you know what to do. I will see you all in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.